Darian, there you are, right? Like, were you watching? Were you listening? Were you taking it all in Friday? How late did you stay up before you said, "The heck with this, I'm going to bed"?
Man, I tried, but I just couldn't make it. I was just too tired. And when I woke up, I think I woke up about 1:30 a.m. and I was just in panic because I'm like, oh my God, did the game start? Did I miss it? But then I saw that the game was postponed, so I was super happy, and I'm glad I didn't miss anything.
You listen and you watch the first little bit of that game, and it's like, well, this is Calgary just wants to get on the plane and back home wherever they slept last night. This is going to be a sloppy football. They don't look good, but man, did they turn it around in a big way? What's your assessment of Vernon Adams and his game?
You know what? I thought, since Calgary signed VA, that he would be such a big help for this team. You put him together with a quarterback-minded head coach who knows how to use his strengths and knows that he has a big arm, and they use it to his ability of stretching the field. I mean, whenever you have a quarterback that can make every single throw on the field, and the game is starting to slow down for him, and he's starting to recognize defenses, that's a problem. He's a big threat. And I look at Henry Burris and every throw that Hank could make, Hank would have these turnovers that you scratch your head about. But at the same time, whenever you can stretch the field, you become very dangerous. And you put him together with Dave Dickinson, they're a great duo. And you need to watch out for them.
Doubles, I want to take just a step outside the game or a step back before breaking into some in-game information. But I'd like your insight in how difficult it must have been for both of these teams, specifically even the Stampeders. I don't know how much information you caught out your way of once the game was canceled, they had to scramble and find, some players were staying at the dorms at the university. Some staff found hotel rooms, not all at the same hotel. You've spent a career traveling. You know how difficult it is flying into a place when hotels are organized and meals are organized and travel to the stadium is organized, and it's still tough to get on the road and win a football game, let alone what these guys had to go through. So, and the Riders included being in that question all night. But from an athlete's perspective, how difficult would have that been for them to go through that and then get up on Saturday and be prepared to play a first place showdown?
You know what? This just reminds me of training. I mean, you're living in dorms. You have to wake up early in the morning for practice. You don't know the schedule of the next day sometimes. Then you have to, adjust yourself. You have to eat real quick. You have to go to meetings. It's just everything that the season is not, right? And so I think when you have a veteran team, it makes it easier to adjust to situations like this. Sleeping in dorms is nothing new to the guys. They go through it in training camp. So this is just all about resetting the mind, not living inside the comfort of being in your own home and just putting yourself in a training camp mindset so that you can get yourself just ready for football. And that's what it's all about in training camp. It's just football, football, football. And that was the same situation for the Stamps. For the Riders, I mean, you get to go home and, you have the luxury of being in your own bed and relaxing a little bit. So I kind of look at the Stampeders as it may have been an advantage for them, because I'm sure Coach Dickey was just reminding them, we've been through this. We've been up at 6 o'clock in the morning. We slept in these dorms, these single mattress dorms that are hard as bricks. So, it's something that you were doing for a couple of weeks, and you just have to put your mind in that mind frame.
But you would have been the guy that snuck in one of the rooms at Hotel Sask. The guys going to the dorms would have been the practice roster, the guys that just off the practice roster. That would have been tough.
Hey, I can speak from inside experience that I may have been getting a tug on the arm saying, "Hey, RP, where are we staying tonight?"
Yeah, I would have had to know right away, right? But it just depends. If I had one of my receivers or someone, a very important guy, and I had a hotel room, I'd be like, I switch with you. I feel like I was the the consummate teammate, right? So I don't know, but I may have given my room up for someone.
Hey, not obviously not knowing exactly what was going on in the locker room, but if you've ever been through a delay like this, take us inside. Like, what would guys be busy doing? We heard some breakdowns that, they talk about the game plan a little bit and, try to stay loose and stay entertained. But what's going on inside a locker room when you're sitting there waiting for hours of uncertainty?
Yeah, I think it was my rookie year or maybe my second year in the league. We had a crazy rainstorm when we played Edmonton at home, and I think it was a 2-hour delay, something like that. And it's tough. I mean, you prepare yourself. Your routine is to get ready for maybe a 6 o'clock start, and you schedule your day around that, right? So as you're just sitting there, you be as focused as you can, but it's hard. So I was looking at the TSN cuts, and the guys were just loose, laughing, joking, having fun, trying to stay as focused as you can, but it's hard when you're waiting hour after hour. So, guys are different. Some guys have different mentalities, but I know it was difficult to sit there and wait for a long time because I've been through it.
If I would have went to your guy, the guy that I want to meet, your bookie on the street there, that's on my bucket list. If I would have went to him and say, "Hey, give me $100, AJ Ouellette under 10 yards rushing," he would have slapped me. He would have said, "You're crazy."
Exactly.
Like, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's almost like you look at that stat sheet, Darian, and you're like, "This is a misprint."
Yeah, for sure. I mean, no one could have envisioned AJ Ouellette being held to under 10 yards. And you just have to give credit to that Calgary Stampeder defensive line. They were just wrecking shop the entire game, just getting pressure on Trevor from, the interior of the line, which is a surprise for me. I thought that was a very strong part of the Rider offensive line, in the interior. But Calgary showed that if you could get some push up front, you can make it difficult. And you can also tell that they made their mind up that they were going to stop the run, let Trevor, dink and dunk and take all of the 5 to 7 yard passes all day and just stop the run game and try to put them in second and long situations.
Do you feel like their defense gives you a lot of different looks? It felt like they pressured from a lot of different areas, the way they blitzed. They'd have send guys from a lot of different angles. Is that typical, or do they feel like their strong suit of Calgary is that they kind of give you a lot of different shows there?
Well, if you look at Barron Miles and his tenure in Ottawa, he did a lot of mixing up coverages with blitzes and things like that. But I think, what he sees with the Rider offense is that it's AJ Ouellette, and if you can stop him and make Trevor beat you consistently, then you give yourself a chance. I mean, Trevor is known for his high completion percentage, but there are a lot of underneath passes that he's completing. So if you can stop the run on first down, Trevor doesn't throw the ball a lot past 10 to 12 yards. So that looks like the game plan that they had coming in is just to put Saskatchewan in a second and long situation and give up a 5 to 7 yard pass on second down and make them punt. And, that was a great game plan by Barron Miles.
You touched on it right off the top with Vernon Adams coming over in free agency, but he throws the interception on the first offensive play of the game there, but he got it rolling from there for sure. And that duo of him and the Elford receiver, who looks like a real keeper, they were pretty dynamic.
Yeah, that's just the maturity of VA. I think early on in his career, if he would have thrown that interception first play of the game, it would have been a downward spiral from there. But you can just see his growth, his maturity, and like I said, just having a former Hall of Fame type quarterback in your ear and calming you down. And Dave Dickinson knows everything about what VA is going through and what he's seeing out there. So to have Dave in his ear and in his corner throughout the game is huge for VA. And like I said, just him showing the poise of being able to forget that bad play and to continue to keep going, it just shows his maturity.
You mentioned how they were getting to through our offensive line and they're getting to Harris and all that. That I was going to ask you about this too, but that Ormalade hit where he comes in and he hits and Harris's head hits the turf violently. I was like, oh no, here we go again. But he gets up, he completes a deep ball the
right
next play. That was scary one, Darian.
Yeah, for sure. Whenever you see a guy's head bounce off the turf like that, you holding your breath because nine times out of 10 that is a concussion. But the new technologies of these helmets are amazing, and you can see that. Luckily for him, if it wasn't for that helmet and the type of air that our good friend Gordy Gilroy put in that helmet, it could have been ugly. So kudos to Trevor for taking that hit and being able to get up and bounce back and making a play right after.
When you're watching that game and the first half wasn't good, and we talked about we weren't getting any rushing yards. What would you have changed? What did you see there from your brain as a quarterback? They started attacking, obviously, the outside, Robustelli, making some big plays. Did you see anything else that maybe you would have attacked?
You know what? It's just hard to, whenever you have a run game and you've been successful in the run game like Saskatchewan has in the previous 3-4 games, you want to get that going, right? So it's hard to just give up on it so early in the game. So, I think they had a game plan offensively. You just have to give credit to the Calgary defense. They came fired up. They came ready to play. And, sometimes the other team, they get paid too, right? You have to give them credit for stopping what you're trying to do. But I don't think that the Riders should have given up on the run game. They have a hell of a run game. And, A.J. Ouellette has been great so far this season. So giving up on the run game early just isn't the thing to do. And like I said, you just have to give Calgary credit, man. They came to play and they did what they had to do.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it last week about how AJ really, energizes that offense. And when he gets rolling, I talked to you about when he's rolling and you have that running support there, how much of the field opens up, for other options and that. But it did feel in the second half they're still only down by 14 points. At halftime, if right around there. So he gets rolling and they've moved downfield and score. It's a football game again. But I agree, it was a little bit interesting from that. But it doesn't stop. They look ahead this week and have to roll into BC now. So
on the heels of that, though, kind of what were you? I didn't mind the gambles. We're late third quarter there. What did you think on the first gamble and the second one? I didn't mind them. What about you?
No, I understand. I mean, you're on the 3-yard line. I think they were, and you look. At that point in time, hindsight is always 20/20, right? And I mean, if they would have gotten a touchdown, you wouldn't have heard anything about it. So, I don't mind the gamble. Of course, when you look back, if they would have taken the 2 field goals, it would have been a 1 touchdown game. But at that point in time, when you get that far down the field and you're that close to scoring, a touchdown would have been huge for the momentum. You've been stopping Calgary, at the time. So I don't mind the gambles at all.
Was there a play? Like, would you have had a play back when you were playing, or maybe a couple of plays that you would have used there, or do you just stay with the same playbook and just go to one of your, whatever your feelings open on that day?
You know what? I think you're somewhat limited because Trevor isn't known as a running quarterback or extending plays and getting outside the pocket. I think you saw, with Calgary and VA, some of the huge plays they had down the field was when he was a running threat. So you're kind of limited in what you can do. I would like to see the Riders, throw more fades and throw it up to, Keyshawn Johnsons and these guys who can go up and make the 50-50 catches. I mean, you look around the league and, quarterbacks are just putting it up for their big play guys and letting them come down with the ball. So I would have been more comfortable with a fade or throwing it up and giving the receiver a chance rather than, just sitting back and trying to force the ball into coverage.
Did you catch the other games this weekend with specifically BC Edmonton matchup last night? Looked like it was going to be a football game for a little while, and then BC gets the ball and starts to run it wide open, and that's what the Riders are going to be up against this week now. So what do you see from Nathan Rourke coming back off his injury?
First of all, I want to apologize to Nathan Rourke and the BC Lions for saying that he didn't really have their respect. If you look at some of the footage before the game, he has the handshakes with every single receiver. I mean, it seems as if they love the guy. So, I want to apologize for that. And, they're rolling. And I think that comeback in Montreal to win at the last second sometimes, there are season-defining wins, and on the road in Montreal against a really good team to win with the last-second field goal, sometimes that can, give you that momentum that you need. And they were just rolling. Nathan Rourke is just, he's getting the ball every place on the field you can name it. And Buck Pierce is doing a great job of playing to his strengths and getting him outside the pocket and using his legs and doing everything that Nathan Rourke does well. So this BC team looks very, very good. And you add that on to Benavides and Ryan Phillips coaching that defense. They're going to be a tough team as well. So I see the West as a three-team race it's going to be, and BC is going to be right there.
Oh, hold on. You see it as a 3-team race? Who are you throwing to the fourth spot here?
Edmonton, yeah, they don't look good at all.
No.
It just seems like they don't know what to do with Trey Ford, right? He's just such a dynamic quarterback, but he's not a true pocket passer. And, it just seems like they just don't know how to utilize his talents and what he does well. So I just see, this year being just a tough year for them. And I pretty much see a quarterback change coming soon if they can't pick it up after this bye week.
Agreed.
On the text line coming in, a question for you. They're saying, what's Double D's opinion on the Alfred hit out of bounds by Franklin? I didn't see much there. What's your take on that, D?
Man, when guys are running full speed and, look, things happen. And, I don't want to just sit here and jump on the dirty train when things like that happen. I mean, these guys are world-class athletes. They're running full speed, and sometimes it's just hard to let up. Would I be upset about it? Of course. But, at the end of the day, I don't want to call it dirty. It's just unfortunate.
TC in Medicine Hat wants to know, he wants all of our comments, but you're the guy that played. Get your thoughts on Josh Bell and the secondary's performance on Saturday. We kind of touched on that. That's what worries me, though, about Rourke. If VA, which is a good quarterback, can pick apart the zone the way he did, the little pump fakes, moving around, moving his eyes and all that, Rourke, he's a damn good quarterback. So maybe your just comments on the secondary again and Josh Bell, Darren.
Look, the Riders have been, and I think Corey Mace comes from the Rich Stubler school of defense, where you keep everything in front of you and you just give up the short play and you wait for the quarterback to make a mistake. So I won't put the blame on the secondary. I think the D-line has to get more pressure on these quarterbacks and speed up the quarterback's reads and make it tough for them. So sometimes you have to get pressure with just the front four. You shouldn't have to blitz all the time to create pressure, and it just seems like the Rider front four at the moment is just not getting enough pressure. Even on the road, VA had all day back there to throw. He's pump faking, he's rolling out, he's just sitting back there to the defense. It's first and 20 after a holding penalty, and he has all day to make a 17-yard throw down the field to put the Stampeders in 2nd and 3. So I would just like to see a lot better pass rush from the Riders, and I wouldn't put all the blame on the secondary.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, we'll leave you with this. 36 years ago today, Milli Vanilli released Blame It on the Rain. What's your favorite Milli Vanilli song?
Milli Vanilli, man, I was a young kid at the time. It was another song they had. What is the name of it? Blame
Girl,
It on
you
the
know
Rain.
it's true. Baby, don't forget my number.
That's it.
Or,
Girl, you know it's true.
there it is.
That's my
Just
song,
sing
man.
it.
Yeah.
Give us some.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. I love you.
That's Darian Durant performing tonight at Habanos. All right, Darian. Thanks so much, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, no problem.
See you, Dubs.
Take care, RP.